this is gonna go, but I will be taking your class where this is mostly gonna be a doubt resolution class. So yeah, the way it's supposed to go is that you'll have to ask me your questions, and I will answer your questions related to Java. Okay, so that's how it's going to be. So if you have any questions for me, you can feel free to ask me your question, preferably by raising your hand, unmuting yourself, asking me your question, and then I will answer that question for you. Okay, so that's how we are gonna take this forward. So please move ahead and ask me your questions. Any questions you have related to Java, whether from core Java or advanced Java or anything maybe development related. I'll try my best to answer most of your queries. So anything that I can help you with, please go ahead and ask.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Sir, can you explain me about HashMap, HashSet,
Yeah, okay.
ArrayList?
HashMap has set an array list. Okay. All right. Let's get started. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me remove everything. I don't need any of these anymore. Okay. Let's try to understand what is a array list. Okay. So do you know what arrays?
Sir, array is the collection of similar type of elements.
Correct. Now you must be familiar that arrays have a fixed size, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
if you created an array of size 5, you cannot add a sixth element.
Yes, sir.
Correct? You cannot add a sixth element. So this is the problem that ArrayList solves. This is a problem that ArrayList solves. So ArrayList technically gives you an array whose size is dynamic. So depending on how many elements are there, size is dynamic. For example, if you create an ArrayList and added 5 elements, if you want to add a sixth element, you can add it. That is what ArrayList does.
Okay,
Okay.
sir.
Do you also want to understand the internal implementation of an ArrayList? Is that
Yes, sir.
also okay? So let's say you created an array list. In order to create an array list, you have to write code like this. Let's say integer type. This is the code for creating an array list. The moment you write this code, what internally happens in Java is that it creates an array. It creates an array of type integer with 10 elements or 10 of size 10. That is what it does internally. Okay, so now let's say you have started to add the elements. Let's say you added 1 here, then you added 2 here, then you added 3 here, then you added 4 here, then you added 5 here, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10. Okay, so now all the elements are full.
Yes, sir.
Array is full, right? Now let's say you want to add an 11th element as well. Now because the array is full, it will not be able to add the 11th element. So what it will do is that it will create a new array of size greater than 10. Okay, and what it will do is that it will take all of these elements and copy it over here. It will copy all the elements over here and then add an 11th element here. And then it will delete it from the memory.
Okay, sir.
This is how an array list works. Clear?
Sir, sir, can you explain more about implementation?
Implementation. I mean, this is how it internally works. Are you trying to understand how to use an array list? Is that what your question is?
Yes, sir. Yes.
I mean, if you know how to use an array, that's all you need to know for using an array list. For example, you can create an array list. And you can start adding elements, say 1, or you can just write a for loop. So this is how you add elements in the array list. Use case is what? I mean, any linear data, you can store it in array list. Wherever you can use array, you can use array list also. The advantage is dynamic size.
Okay, sir.
That's it about
Similarly,
ArrayList.
sir, similarly about set and
Map.
map.
Map and set.
Yes.
Okay. Map is more complex, to be honest. Map is gonna be a more complex topic. Okay, let's try to understand mapping. For that, do you know the concept of hash? Do you know what is hash?
Sir, hash is something, it will a unique value which will be stored for every value.
Correct. But how does it work? Do you know about that?
Based on, don't know, sir, exactly.
Hmm. Okay. Let me give that to you. Just one moment. I have written it somewhere very nicely. I'm just gonna show that to you.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, hello.
Sir, after this, could you explain me about multi-threading in Java?
Okay, it's a big topic.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hmm. Just give me 1 second. Just give me 1 second. So instead of writing the code by myself, I am going to open Geeks for Geeks for you and then show it to you what's happening.
Okay, sir.
Okay, just give me 1 second. I could not find the document I had written by myself. Okay, can you see it?
Yes, sir.
You see it, right? So first of all, we need to know what is a hash. Okay, so technically, any class in Java is a child of object class. Correct? Do you know this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so object is the parent of them all. Now, inside the object class, there is a function called as hash code. So hash code is a function that can convert any class or any object into an integer.
Okay,
Hashcode
sir.
is a function that can convert any object of any type into an integer. Now, because inheritance is happening in this place, so you can override the hash code function wherever you need to override it. Okay, so first of all, map is a key value pair storing logic. For example, if you want to know, if you want to pair up like a name of a student with their roll number, so you can say roll number comma student or student name, something like that. So every pair will have a roll number and a student name. So just like that, maps have a key and a value. Okay,
Okay,
so the
sir.
hashing logic is implemented on the key and that value is stored. Okay, so technically, what happens is there is a concept of bucket inside. There is a concept of bucket inside in hash map. Okay, and what is a bucket? A bucket is a combination of nodes. A bucket is a combination of nodes.
Okay,
Okay,
sir.
so it looks like a linked list. So you can see it says hash map contains an array of node objects. Each node represents a key value mapping. Okay, and this is how that node looks like. So it contains the hash that was calculated. It contains the key on which the hash was calculated, the value you want to store, and the next node, like a linked list.
Okay, sir.
Okay, this is how it looks like. So you can see what each of these values mean. Now let's try to look at hashing in a hash map. So you can see that we have created a class called as key, which contains a string key. Okay, this is a basic constructor, and we are overriding the hash code function. Okay, because key, even though it is a custom class, it will be a child of object class. So we can override the hash code function. Now, what are we doing? We are creating the hash code as the first character of the string, right? So key.char@0, right? So ASCII
Yes, sir.
value of the first character. Okay. Now there is also a function called as equals, which is also coming from object. Now what its job is to check whether two values are equal or not, right? So in order to
Yes.
contain two objects of the key class, we can only compare the values of the key that is of type string inside each of the class. If this is equal, then they both are also equal. Okay, so
Yes.
now this is what we have seen. Now look at this. So we have created student 1, student 2, student 3. And then we are trying to create a hash map of student comma string, right?
Okay, sir.
Student comma string. So where the key type is student and the value type is string. Okay, so I can put elements into the hash map like this. I can get the values of hash map like this, like map.get like that. Okay, now let's see how it internally works. Okay, so look at this. A bucket is an element of the HashMap array. It is used to store nodes. That is what I told you, right? A bucket stores
Yes.
nodes. So when you create a hash map, it is created with 16 buckets by default.
Okay,
It is
sir.
created with 16 buckets, okay? And that is going to be the capacity. So you can see that two or more nodes can have the same bucket. In that case, the linked list structure is used to connect the nodes. Buckets are different in capacity. Buckets are different in capacity. Load factor, a single bucket can have more than one node. It depends on hashcode function. The better your hashcode method is, the better your buckets will be utilized. So think about it like this, that when you create a hash map, 16 buckets are initialized. And when you try to add an element into the hash map, first of all, you need to understand what is a hash code. Now, whatever is the hash code of the key, we do we do a bitwise AND operation with the capacity, where n is the capacity of the hash map, which is 16.
Okay, sir.
We will consider n as a default size, which is 16. Okay, so then you decide which index it will go to. So out of 16 buckets that there are, when you try to add a new element, which bucket it will go to, it is calculated by this formula.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so if two buckets or if two keys have the same hash, then they will go into the same bucket, but they will be added in the list that is specified inside that bucket. That is how it works. So in order to show that to you, for example, let's say these are buckets, 3, 4. Let's say we have 4 buckets only or 5 buckets. Simple for easy understanding. Okay. Now let's say you are trying to add key is equal to, let's say Ashwin, and let's say one more key is equal to Akash, for example. Okay, so the key for Ashwin is 114. Let's assume hash code, and Akash is also 114. Okay, so we will calculate the index first. And let's say after calculating the index, we got that index is equals to 3. And now because index is dependent on hash code and the size, and we know that size is the same and hash code is also the same. So index will always be 3. It's a hypothetical index. Okay, so what it means is that this key value pair will go into the bucket number 3. So 1 bucket, 2 bucket, 3 bucket. I mean, technically 0, 1, 2, 3. So it
Zero.
will come to this bucket.
Yes, sir.
It will come to this bucket. So when you try to add, let's say Ashwin first, so when you try to add Ashwin first, it will see that this bucket is empty. So therefore, what it will do is that it will add Ashwin over here like this, Ashwin, comma, some value, let's say Ashwin Patel, let's say last name.
Okay.
Okay, this is what we'll do. But when you try to add the next element, let's say Akash. So this this hash code will also be equal to 114. So index is again 3. Now what it does is that it checks, is that index empty or not? In this case, it is not empty, right?
Yes, sir.
So what it will do is that it will go to the key of the first index and check whether this key, that is Akash, is it the same as Ashwin? If it is the
No.
same, if it was the same, then it will replace this Patel with whatever value you're trying to add. But in
Okay.
this case, it is not the same. So it will do a linked list implementation and add one more node where it will have Akash and let's say Joshi, for example, like this. So if these keys were same, this and this were same, then it would have replaced Patel with Joshi. But in this case, they are not the same. So a linked list is added like this. A linked list happens. This is how a hash map works.
Okay, sir.
Now in a hash set internally uses a hash map to take only the keys, not the values. Imagine if you don't store this value, then it will become a hash set. So hash map internally makes use of a hash map only.
Okay, sir. Sir, can you show explain about the code, sir?
Which code?
In the Geek for Geeks document.
Okay, fine. So for example, look at this. So initial default capacity is 16. So this is how the buckets will look. So there are 16 buckets. Now let's say you're trying to put your first key value pair Vishal, comma 20. So now Vishal starts with V. So the ASCII value for Vishal is 118. Okay, so we will calculate the index for the bucket. So hash is equals to 118. So integer value is 20. Node is wait, where is the index? Calculate the index by using the index method. It will be equal to 6. That means it will always go to the sixth node or sixth bucket. It will go to the sixth bucket. Okay. Now, the moment you have added into sixth bucket, it will look like this. Vishal, like this. in the bucket number 6. Let's say this is bucket number 6. Okay. Now let's say you're trying to add one more element, which is Vishal 20 we have seen, right? Of import and first year repair. Okay, Vishal 20. Now you're adding Sachin 30. So Sachin's value is 115. So this will go to index number 3. So Sachin will come, let's say here. Let's say this is index number 3, Sachin.
Okay.
Let's say Tendulkar T. Okay, now let's say you're trying to add one more value. Let's say Vaibhav. Vaibhav 40. So Vaibhav also starts with V. So hash code will be the same as 118.
Yeah.
Okay, so now the Vaibhav has to enter in this particular place, in Vishal's place, in the same bucket as Vishal. Okay, now it will check whether Vaibhav and Vishal have the same, they are equal or not. Using the equals function, it will check. If they both are equal, then it will replace Vaibhav, it will replace this node with that node, with the incoming node. And because they are
Okay,
different, so it will add it as a linked list with whatever value, whatever. This is how it works.
okay, sir.
Got it?
Yes, sir.
A hash set internally uses hash map only. Same logic,
Okay, sir.
creates a hash map first and then uses it internally to get the value of to make it look like a set. Okay, any more questions?
Sir, can you explain the code?
The code as in how to
Not
write
this,
it, like this.
not that one, sir. The hash map.
Which code do you want me to explain? This, the
Down,
one that
down,
was
down.
above.
Above, down. No, sir, above, I think.
This one?
Not this one, sir. Above. Hash map, yes, sir. Hash map code.
This
Yes, sir,
one?
this one. Yes, sir.
So what you're doing is you're just trying to put elements. So hash map is what key and value, right? So key type is student, value type is string. So you're putting elements into the map. Key value, key value. When you want to get a value for a certain key, then you will get that value. Let's say hm.get student1. So student1 against student1, we have A grade. So it will print A grade.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Student2 B grade, so it will print B grade. Then student3, it is printing over here. It will print C grade or A grade, whatever.
Okay, sir, understood.
Okay. So keys cannot be duplicate. They may have the
Okay,
same
sir.
hash code, but then they must not be equal to each other. If
Okay,
they
sir.
are
Thank
equal,
you.
then it will be replaced.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Sir, explain about multi-threading, sir.
Multithreading is like a long topic, so it will take some time, but I can still tell you about multithreading. For multithreading, we need to understand what is a thread. Do we know what is a thread?
Sir, it is a lightweight process.
Lightweight process, I don't think that is right definition. A process and thread are two different things. For example, let's say you have to cook food at home, and let's say your brother is studying in the school. Are they related to each other in any manner?
Sir, what, sir?
Let's say you are cooking food at home and your brother is studying in the school.
Yes, sir.
So is your brother studying at school related to you cooking food at home, or is your cooking food at home related to your brother studying at school?
No, sir.
No, right? So we
Yes,
can say that they are two different processes.
yes, sir. Two different
We can
processes.
say that two different processes. But now let's come to the idea of you cooking food. So when you're cooking food, at that time, does the order of chopping the vegetables and eating the food, does that matter?
Yes, sir.
Does it matter whether you chop the vegetables or not, or does it matter whether you eat the food or not? It matters, right?
Yes, sir.
So
It
at
matters.
that time, so in the process of you cooking the food, all the tasks that you're doing, they can be put onto, or they are going to run on one thread or multiple threads, depending on the environment.
Okay, sir.
This is called as multi-threading. When you create multiple environments, sorry, when you create multiple threads to do the job, it is called as multi-threading. For example, let's say you want to make food. Let's say you want, like, where are you from? Can you tell me, Srinivas?
From Vijayawada, sir.
Vijayawada, right? Now let's say you want to eat you want to eat dosa. Okay, so let's say you want to eat dosa, so you're cooking dosa, but at the same time you feel like, oh, I also want to eat putrekulu, or let's say I also want to eat kaja. So you want somebody to go to the store and bring kaja for you, or you want to place that order on Swiggy, Instamart, or Swiggy. So
Yes,
you can, let's say at the time of cooking also, at the time of cooking only, you can place the order on Swiggy,
yes, sir.
right? So
Yes, sir.
at the time of cooking only, the order is coming to you at your home. So that means in order to achieve your task of eating dosa with Kaja, you're performing the task of cooking dosa parallel to ordering food from Swiggy.
Two processor, two processor simultaneously executing.
Not process. That is the wrong word you're using. Two threads are executing simultaneously.
Two threads.
In
Okay.
one thread, you're cooking dosa. In the second thread, you're ordering food from Swiggy.
Okay.
So
Okay.
this is, and when you have done something like this is multi-threading. You could have also completely, after finishing making dosa, you could have ordered food from Swiggy or gone to the store to bring it. At that time, you can run all of this in the same thread because it is sequential.
Yes,
But
sir.
when you want parallel, I mean, parallel is a wrong word. When you want concurrent execution, you can make use of threads.
Okay. Okay, sir.
That is the idea of multi-threading. So when you have tasks that you want to run in concurrent manner, you can use multi-threading.
Okay.
So on top of this idea, we have a lot of thread control, thread joining, thread creation, etc. That is the concept that comes in Java. So if you want me to explain about that, then I will need another 30 minutes.
Oh, sir. Could you give some sample code of the thread execution, sir? That means how the threads are executed in Java.
See, threads have a life cycle. So initially, whenever you run a Java program, Java has a like Java will always run with one thread, which is called as main thread.
In the,
So you will have to create threads in Java and tell them what they are supposed to do. And then the main thread and then the threads will tell when to start the other thread. For example, the main thread can start T1, then T1 can start T2, then T2 can start T3, and so on and on. Or main can start T1, T2, T3, all like that. So that depends on your logic, how you want that multi-threading to happen.
okay. Okay, sir. Sir, could you show me some sample code and explain, sir?
Yeah, I can show it to you. So in Java, if you have to create a thread, you can do it by two manners, either by creating a child of the thread class or by implementing the runnable interface. So I'll create thread, let's say T1 is equals to new thread. Let's say its job is to print, or I can just write it like this, public. Can I write it here? I think I can do it. Yeah, public static void.
Sir, is it mandatory to write a try catch block, sir?
Yes, yes, because sleep throws the interrupted exception, which is a compile time exception.
Okay.
So you
Okay.
have to handle it.
Okay, sir.
Are you able to understand this code? So these are two threads, T1 and T2.
Yes,
T1
sir.
will run 10 times, and between printing every number, it will wait for 3 seconds.
Wait for 3 seconds.
Yeah,
Okay.
thread.sleep is like a pause.
Okay, sir.
It's like a pause. Okay, so you can see I'm passing a second argument as sleep time, right? This will run, thread 2 will run 20 times, and it will wait for 4 seconds. Or let me reduce the time to, let's say, 2 seconds. Okay. Then
Okay, sir.
T1 dot start, that means now I'm telling start the code for thread 1. T2 dot start the code for thread 2. And then I'm printing program exiting. So now if I run this code, you will see program exiting getting printed first. Now you can see threads are running. So thread 1 is basically thread 2. It is zero indexed. So now both of these are executing concurrently, simultaneously.
Simultaneous.
Yes. And interestingly, you see program is getting printed first. Why?
Yes,
Because
sir.
the main
Yes,
thread
sir.
started T1 and T2, and then it did its job, and now it's done. Main thread finished. But T1 and T2 are still running, so they are printing their jobs.
Uh, First main thread executed, after that T1 thread and T2 thread are simultaneously executing.
Correct. You can see that T1, you can see that it says T08 and then T1 12. So you can see that T2 is running in, like they both are executing simultaneously. It's not like first it did not run T1 completely from 0 to 10, and then it did not run T2 completely from 1 to 20. That did not happen.
Yes, sir.
They both are executing simultaneously.
Yes, sir.
So when T1, which is because it is zero indexed, T2 is our T1, thread 1. So when it is printing 20, the code is over.
Okay, okay, sir. Sir, first T2 thread is only completed now, sir, because the
No,
sleep time.
first T1 complete because T2 is taking more time because you think about it, right? It has to wait for how much time? 20 minus 1, that is 19 into 2, 38 seconds.
Okay,
But this one has to wait 9 into 3, 21 seconds, 27 seconds only.
okay, okay, sir.
9 into 3, 27. It's 27 seconds only, correct?
Okay, sir. Somewhat understood.
Okay. Any more questions?
Thank you, sir.
No problem. Any more questions?
So can you please tell me why do post, the method do post is more secure than do get? And
Do
means
post
how?
is more secure than do get.
Yeah.
So that is, I think, a question related to REST
Servlet.
endpoints.
Yes.
Yeah, so that is a question related to REST endpoints. So when we say do post is more secure than do get, because first of all, if you have to send some information on the server, and if you want to send the same information using get or post, so in get, your information will be parsed in the URL, therefore will be exposed to anybody who reads that URL. Therefore, not a good way of, not from security perspective, but in post, you can encrypt it and send it in the request body. Therefore, more secure.
Okay. So do post uses the SSL and TLS only
That
for an.
depend no, that depends on how your backend system is configured.
Oh,
Technically, it doesn't need to do that because in do get or get, the URL is very clearly showcasing the values that you want to pass. For example, you want to log in, so you'll pass your email ID and password. So your password will be visible in the URL, which you don't want to happen. But in post, it will not be visible because it's a part of a different chunk, which is a request body.
okay, sir. Another question is, can you please explain me with the code get attribute and set attribute of the HTTP servlet response?
Get
Like,
attribute and set attribute of a
yes.
servlet response. So let me see if I don't think I have it with me. I think your question is very specific to a certain technology. What technology do you use?
No, sir, it is regarding this the servlets, Java servlets.
I know, but
Like,
but are you like using it with context to Spring or like Hibernate or J2EE? That's what
oh,
I'm asking.
Spring.
Spring, right? So HTTP servlet dot get and set attribute, right? So
Yes.
get attribute is what? So HTTP servlet will have headers and other things, right? So when you write dot set headers, then you're going to set the headers, like something like that. That's what I understand. But let me validate my understanding. HTTP servlet, you said, right? Attributes. So are you asking from the perspective of Java X.Servlet or Jakarta.Servlet? Hmm?
Jakarta does.
Jakarta.Servlet, right? Okay, so I'll tell you. So when you write set attribute, so in a set attribute, you can pass a key value pair just like a hash map, and then that value will be available throughout your request scope. That is what happens in set attribute. Get attribute is to fetch that value that you have set. For example, let's say you are consuming a user ID from your GET request. Or let's say you are trying to create something like Amazon and you have a user ID, where user ID is the user who's trying to place an order. So the moment you have your user ID, you can ask your database to give you a user object from that user ID, and then you can set this user object in your servlet or in your request servlet. The moment you do that, this servlet, wherever it will go, it will always have the user object that you want to use. So you can use the set attribute to set this value and get attribute to get this value.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Any more questions? Any more question? Any more questions? No questions? I mean, if you have no questions, I'm just gonna wait here and do nothing. So you'll have to tell me if you have any questions.
Hello.
Yes,
Sir, thread dot interrupted method explanation.
you want to understand thread dot interrupted.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you seen like for understanding thread dot interrupted, do you need to know what is an interrupt?
No,
So
I know, sir. I know the basics of that. I mean,
Mhm.
somehow that method is not quite understandable.
Okay. Okay. So you know about interruption, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what does a thread dot interrupted does? First of all, it checks if a thread has been interrupted or not, if the current thread has been interrupted or not. Okay. So that function will return true if the current thread was interrupted before the call, and false if the thread was not interrupted. For example, uh, let me write some code for you. You're asking about interrupted, right? Interrupted is what you're asking, right?
Yes, sir. Not interrupt.
Okay, fine. All right. So you can see that first it prints true, then it prints false, and then it says program exiting. So I'm talking about the main thread over here because this code is written according to the main thread. So in the main thread, you can see that when in line number 10, I am interrupting the thread myself, right? I am interrupting the thread myself. So the moment you interrupt the thread, right? The moment you interrupt the thread, the next line is saying that yes, the thread was interrupted by printing true, right? You see that?
Yes.
Right now, what it does is that the moment you execute the is interrupted function, the moment you execute the interrupted function, it will clear or it will forget that the thread was interrupted, or it will assume that the thread was not interrupted after this, unless it is interrupted again. That is what it does. So it checks if the thread was interrupted and clears the interrupted status if it was set. That means that it will return true if the thread was interrupted before the call. So before this function was called, whether the thread was interrupted or not. Yes, it was interrupted, so it returned true. But because it returned true, it will also go and make it false afterwards because thinking that I have already checked for it, so now it is not interrupted. That's what it does.
Okay. Thank you.
That is what interrupted does. Any more questions? We still have 17 minutes. If you have questions, you can unmute yourself and ask. Any more questions? If you have any more questions, you can unmute yourself and ask.
Sir, hello.
Yeah.
Sir, can you explain about streams?
Stream. Trust me, when I started this class, the code I had was for streams only. Now I have to write it again. Okay, fine. I'll tell you about streams. So for streams, you need to understand collections in Java. Do you understand collections in Java?
Yes, sir.
Okay, like list, set, vector, etc. So
Yes,
stream
sir.
is basically a intermediary data type in Java, which exposes a list of functions that you can use in order to process the data in a collection. That is what a stream does. Okay, so stream exposes functions like stream. It has very interesting, good, very nice functions.
Hello. Sir, can you explain a vector after this?
I can, but let me finish this first. Okay,
Okay.
so you can see that stream exposes a set of functions, filter, then map to int, map to long, etc. So you can use these functions in order to process the data that you have in your collection. Streams also allow a sequential processing as well as parallel stream processing. Depending on your use case, you can do it. That is what streams are. So maybe let's say you have a list of integers from 1 to 10. Now you want to take out only those integers that are even. And then after taking out those integers, you want to square them. And after squaring them, you want to take out those integers that are only greater than 60. Then the value will be 64 and 100. You can do this all by stream chaining. That is where streams are used. Is it making sense? Now you might need to see how to use these functions while understanding these functional interfaces like function, predicate, these will be needed. Does it make sense what I am saying? Yes, no, you can say no if it's not working for you. Okay, no answer. All right, let's move to the next question. Vectors in Java. So, right? So, do you know what C++ vector?
No, sir.
What languages do you know?
So JavaScript and basics of Java.
Okay. So vector is basically, you can think about vector as a older brother of a list. So in Java, vector is one of the original classes for storing dynamic collection like list. Okay. So so basically vector is same as list, but like older. So you can think about it like that. One of the things about vector is that it is synchronized, that is, it is thread safe, which we are talking about multithreading, right? So it is thread safe. And if you have to discuss the differences between an array list and vector, then we can say that the differences will mostly include things like what? Thread safety is one of the differences. Their availability is one of the differences. Uh, yeah, their availability is one of the differences. So vector will always be thread safe, but array list will not be thread safe. Performance-wise, vector is slow because of locking, thread locking. ArrayList is fast. Okay, and it is preferred that you use ArrayList more rather than using vector. So in today's world, vector is considered as a legacy class, therefore not used. So if you have a non-multi-threaded environment, use ArrayList. But if you have a multi-threaded environment, then you can use collections.synchronized ArrayList or copy on a write ArrayList for thread safety. For example, you could have written code like this. This is a better way of using a synchronized array list in Java rather than using a vector. So people don't use vector in Java.
Oops.
We have 7 minutes. If anybody has any questions, I can answer. Any more questions?
Sir,
Hmm.
sir, what are the advantages of using interfaces over abstract class except implementing multiple interfaces?
Uh, Technically is no other advantage. Zero other advantages.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Only one small advantage I think we can consider if your interface or your abstract class is only one abstract method. With the help of interface, you can use lambdas. Otherwise, there is no other advantage.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Any more questions?
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Can you list out the advanced topics in Java which is used in web development?
Spring Boot. If you learn Spring Boot, you'll learn everything you need.
Okay, and like that is a framework, right? So what
Hmm?
are the other concepts we need with frameworks? Like Spring Boot is in framework, right? I
Yeah.
mean, what are the other concepts we need to learn along with that Spring Boot?
You can learn design patterns a little bit. Design
Okay,
patterns.
can you explain what design patterns? What are they actually?
So design patterns are technically ideas of how to write code. So you can write some code and it will work. So it's the idea is writing the code that works definitely, but writing it in a way that is following a certain pattern. For example, if you have to, let's say, go from Delhi to Mumbai. So you can go by train, you can go by bus, you can go on foot, you can go by flight. So these are standard ways. But what if you can go from Delhi to Hyderabad, then Hyderabad to Chennai, then Chennai to Mumbai? So this way also you will reach Mumbai, but then the whole point is that it's not a good way, right? So following a structured approach is what we categorize as design patterns. So there are multiple types of design patterns. You can read about them to understand about them. So there's just a few ways of writing code.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Sir, first Spring came, after that only Spring Boot came, no, sir?
Yeah.
Sir, then for the starting guys, why Spring Boot is preferred as first, sir, without knowing Spring?
Is it important? Okay, one quick question. So did horse cart came first or car?
Sir, what, sir?
You know horse cart?
Horse?
Horse cart.
Horse cart.
Yeah, so like how do I even say it in English? Like how do I even say it? So people like think about 300, 400 years ago, when people had to travel, they would have horses and on a horse they will add a chariot
Yes, sir.
and then they will travel, right?
Yes,
But
sir.
today we
Yes,
have cars. So today if you have to learn how to drive, will you learn how to ride a horse first and then will you learn how to drive a car?
cars only, sir.
Cars are the same thing,
Yes,
literally
sir.
the same thing.
Obviously, cars only we
Yeah. Yeah. So you don't need to drive, you don't need to know how to ride a horse. Or
Okay.
let's take from a modern perspective only. If you want to learn how to drive a car, is it important for you to know how to learn how to drive a motorcycle? Not mandatory.
No,
If you
sir.
know
Not
it's
mandatory.
if you know, okay. But if you don't know, then also it's okay. It's just like that. It's not mandatory for you to learn Spring first and then learn Spring Boot. Not needed.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. But important concepts we should know in the Spring, no, sir. But like injection, like that concepts.
Those concepts are also present in Spring Boot.
Okay, sir.
So you can learn that concept from Spring Boot. For example, if you know about gear changing in a car, even though it's the same in a bike, but still the concept is same, whether you do it in a bike or a car.
Sir.
It's like
Sir.
the same thing.
Sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Sure, if we are going to learn Spring as Spring Boot for backend, so we have to start from Spring Boot.
You can
Is it
directly
right?
start from
Yeah.
Spring Boot. Yeah. Like when I learned Java backend using Spring Boot, I directly started from Spring Boot. And today I am
Okay.
teaching Spring Boot since like a very long time now. And I've never faced a problem.
So can you explain what is Maven and Gradle, sir? Like how they are used in web development?
So Maven and
Actually,
Gradle are
what they are.
Maven and Gradle are alternatives to each other. So either you use Maven or Gradle. You very rarely you will see both of them getting used, which is not preferred. But in a project, in a Java project, either you use Maven or you use Gradle. They both do the same thing. They both run also on the same thing. They're just two different ways of writing the same thing. Okay, so technically what they do is that they take care of your projects, they manage your project's dependencies and building and packaging of your project. So dependencies as in your project can be dependent on some different project, then how do you take care of those dependencies, etc., etc. That is taken care by Maven or Gradle. And other than that, when you have to deploy or your own project, or when you have to provide your own project as a dependency to somebody else, and how to package it, how to build it, how to run it into a life cycle so that everything is perfect, these things are taken care by Maven or Gradle. And like I said, they both are interchangeably used. Sorry, they both in one project either Maven is used or Gradle is used. Very rarely you will see that both of them are getting used, which is not even a preferred way.
Sir,
Okay, sir. So which do you prefer more, like Maven or Gradle? What is your opinion?
Like in my company, everybody uses Maven. In my previous company,
Maven.
everybody used to use Gradle. So it does not matter. You can use either. They both are same. Literally same. I
Okay.
would still say Gradle is a little bit more easy to read and understand, but Maven is also fine.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. We are already at 5 p.m. I can take one more question. Any more
So just
questions?
a general question. So what concept from Java core should be more clear for Spring Boot?
Multithreading and collections.
Okay, so these two concepts should be more cleared in way to work
Yeah.
for Spring Boot.
Yes. Multithreading is, I mean, it is less important on the for starters, but when you become a when you're making very complex apps, then multithreading will become important. But let's say for starters, I think collections and streams, these will become more important. Collection, stream, and abstraction, they will become more important. Okay. All right. So we are at 5:01. We are beyond time, but if you still have questions, I can take maybe one or two more. If there's nothing, I'll close the class. I'll take a hard stop here. Okay, no more questions. All right, thanks for joining today's class. I'll see you the next
Sir, I
time.
have a question. Last question.
Yeah, tell me.
The thing is, I've asked you about the servlet response part. So I need to know what is the difference between the get response dispatcher method and the send redirect method.
Get dispatcher and
Send redirect.
send redirect. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
I think send redirect. So when you talk about request dispatcher and send redirect, so request dispatcher is a class, right?
It was in the method
Okay,
part.
I think I got it. You're talking about get request dispatcher dot forward, something like that.
Yes.
Okay, I got it. So request dispatcher class is what you get from get request dispatcher. Okay. So I'll take technically what happens is in get request dispatcher, like how do I even say it? Let me frame it in a simpler manner. Mm, Okay, I'll tell you something very simple. So what happens with both of these two functions? So when we have the forward function, which is using the get request dispatcher, it happens inside the server. So what happens is that when you are hitting a browser URL, your URL won't change, but the place where your backend application is going to process something that will change internally. So same request object is passed from one part to another part. So all the data that you have set with request.set attribute, because request scope is not changing, that will remain. And this is also faster because it does not create a browser interrupt. But when you do a send redirect, it will change the request coming from your browser. So it will instantiate a new request and everything that you have set in previously in your request will be lost.
Okay. So the first one means the get request will keep the backend part with
Yeah, so
itself.
it will internally happen in the backend only. The browser will not get involved. Browser won't know what's happening.
Okay.
But send redirect will ask the browser, hey, go here. Like
Okay.
simple, let's say you went to State Bank. What
Hmm.
will the State Bank employee on table number 3 say? Go to table number 6. Right?
Yeah.
So that is technically send redirect.
Oh.
Okay, but let's say you went to table number 3 and he does not know what to do. So he only went to table number 6 and got your job done and then came back. So you did not have to worry about going to table number 6.
Okay.
So that is get request dispatcher and send redirect for you.
Okay,
All
sir.
right. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for joining. I'll see you next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.